Hello students, and welcome to the next lesson in our AS Human Geography course. Today we're going to be looking at the impacts and what happens when we gather fuelwood. What is fuelwood? Fuelwood is a type of biomass that can be burned for energy. It comes in the form of sticks and barks, and it's mainly used in low-income countries. So why is it being demanded so much? Well, it's used in developing countries where it's too expensive to extract oil and coal. It's very easy to gather, so anyone can actually do it and then use it. As the countries have very few cities, much of the area are actually low income. In these low income countries are going to be covered in wooded fields because the area has not been urbanized yet. As a result, there is a lot of potential wood to be able to use to burn. Due to the rapid population growth in these countries, such as in Malawi in Africa, a lot of fuelwood is therefore being used and the demand is very, very high. This has a range of impacts. Well, fuelwood is used for many things, firstly in LICs. Examples include for cooking. You have to burn it in order to be able to heat up water and bring it to the boil, which you're going to use for the cooking. The building of houses, because you need to use the fuelwood to burn certain materials which are going to produce sun-dried bricks. These sun-dried bricks then held together when you're building houses. You need it for heat, obviously, if in case it's not really the case in many African countries, but if it does get cold in the night time, a lot of people do use it for heat. And now we're going to look at the impacts of the fuel and the use of Now we're going to look at the impacts of the use of fuelwood. The first of which is an environmental impact. Deforestation destroys the habitats and biodiversity, which is a problem when you're using so much fuelwood. Also, it's going to increase the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere because we're going to have less plants available due to this amount of deforestation. As a result, less plants are going to be absorbing the CO2 and using it to respire with and photosynthesize with, and as a result, it's going to worsen the greenhouse effect. Also, GDP will generally decrease because there are no trees. So as a result, topsoil is going to get washed off much with greater ease because the roots of the trees aren't going to be binding the soil together. So as a result, less of the soil is going to be able to be used for farming, and farming is a big part, and agriculture mainly, is a big part of what these countries use for their GDP. So GDP will in fact decrease. Also, unemployment will increase when there's going to be less farming. Also, with less houses being built, more people are going to be homeless, since less people are going to be using these means of farming in order to sustain a career and as a job. As a result, they may not be able to buy houses. And as stocks deplete, you're not going to be able to use as much fuelwood, and because of that, we're not going to be able to produce the sun-dried bricks to be able to build houses. Also, we're going to have less fuel to run the industry with if deforestation does occur, and our levels of stock for fuelwood are going to decrease. So how do we manage its effects? Well, we can introduce population policies which are going to limit the amount of people being born, and therefore the consumption will also be limited. We can also subsidize other fuel resources, such as that of renewable energy, and promote people to use solar energy in our houses, maybe not through solar panels in developing countries such as Malawi, but solar cookers in order to try and cook their food. We can also promote tree farming so people can replenish the stock levels of all of the trees they've cut down in order to use it for fuelwood. We can also develop more efficient ways to burn the fuelwood with. Lorena stoves are an intermediate technology used in these places such as Malawi, which waste less energy when burned and get the most out of fuelwood. As a result, less has to be burned in order to produce the same amount of fuel, so therefore the amount of consumption of them will reduce. We can also educate the population to use other resources, such as dung and perhaps plants that they find, in order to burn them. Here are some questions on the use of gathering fuelwood and why its effects may be so damaging. Have a go at answering these on another sheet of paper by pausing the video, and press play for whenever you're ready to see the answers. Here are the answers. If you got these right, congratulations. I'd advise you to move on to the next video, which will be on acid rain. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.